Do arts and crafts and honeydews around the house and show people how I do it. It may not be the best way, but it's the way I do it. So, roll high! Alright, look here. We're back out in the garage. I've got the tire here. Got my little setup. What I use is, first thing is I'll take this sanding block here. It's kind of rough. I don't know exactly what grit it is, and then I'll just kind of rough this up a little bit. I'm not even sure if this is a necessary part, but this is what I've done this time. Just a little. Kind of get that top layer off anyways, but I'm gonna wipe it down. You probably should use acetone, but I'm out of acetone, I believe, at the moment. So what I'll use is whatever VMP means, and naphtha. Naphtha. I just noticed that. Probably noticed it before, but it's N-A-P-H-T-H-A. That's probably the only word, or maybe one of very few words that has P-H-T-H. Naphtha. And what is VMP? VMP. If anybody knows what VMNP, naphtha. And then, but right below that, it says naphtha, VMNP. NAFTA. Is that how you say NAFTA? Is that how you say it? NAFTA. North American Free Trade Agreement. VMNP. Huh. Well, I think one of the main things you're going to want to do when you're gluing this down is make sure you get enough glue out on the edges. I kind of overdo it because I don't think that the glue being out past the edges is going to take away from the look. But it will ensure the adhesion better, if you see what I'm saying. Alright, top to top on the naphtha. I gotta go get a glove. Alright, yeah, got me a glove. And what I do endorse myself is safety. Now I'm using this naphtha or naphtha, however you say it, just in a small quantity. So I'm not using a respirator or a mask. I am out in the garage with the door open. But if I was using that a lot, or spray paint or anything like that, I would be wearing my respirator, which I wear it when I mow the grass, etc., etc. Cause y'all know I like to sing and play, sing a country song, and if I have if I am wheezing from grass or using too many chemicals without a respirator, which in my younger days I have been known to do, but I do not do that anymore. So gloves is good. You need these little chemicals like this. So yeah, all that. And I'm assuming that a lot of that is small tire particles, which I have just roughed up. I don't know how bad this is for the rubber of the tire. So I only do it a couple times, and then it kind of evaporates pretty quick, so I'm assuming it's not too bad. Then I'll try to find a dry spot on the towel, or get it dry. That's a dry spot, and then hit it again. Yeah, that's not too dry. So I'm gonna get a dry towel, fresh dry paper towel. And I have noticed that when it dries, I get less of that black stuff, which is what you want. I get a lot of fuzz on there, but I can, yeah, see that? It's not sticky. And once that naphtha dries, that fuzz comes off enough where I feel like it's good. Alright, now, here is the aforementioned tire sticker glue, right there. And I probably ordered there. It says create your own, which I think is a good option. Just for me, it wasn't what I wanted. I just was focused in on recreating this tiger paw logo. But this is being a good glue for the rubber that I purchased on Amazon, and so far very good for this polystyrene that I'm using here today. But what I do is I start all the way on the right side and come back so I don't put my hands and stuff on over here because I'm coming in from this side. So I'll start with the W, and what I'll do first is place it, see what it looks like on the tire. It's bright outside but dim in here. Need to bring an extra light over here. Hold what you got. Alright, now we can see it's pretty well fits. Like it might have had a cut there, but I don't think that's gonna make too big of a difference. It might be just a hair tall, or it might be just right, but whatever it is, if it's too tall, I can come back and do a little adjustment with the sandpaper after it's glued. It is hot out here today, so this glue is trying to cure pretty fast. So what I'm doing is, as quick as I can, getting a good bit of glue around the edges. W is one of the hardest ones to get all the edges. But, see, it's kind of loose, but what I'll do, I take this little screwdriver here. Uh-oh, I'm behind the 8-ball on this one now. This little screwdriver here. Just get it all, make sure it's all the way to the edges. Now, since this was taking me just a hair longer than normal, you gotta be careful with this glue too, the fumes. I'm going to have to place this just right because it's not going to want to move much after I get it down. Yeah, it looks good. Now then, because there's part of my other glove. What I do is come around the edges like that because this is less likely to stick. Make sure to get plenty of glue around the edges. A little extra work later if you don't. I can't remember what I paid for that glue. It wasn't super cheap, but it was affordable, and it has lasted me. I did one tire and then with rubber, and then I did 3 with the polystyrene, and I barely have used any. And I've had this for several months, maybe even up to a year, and it's still good. Keep the lid on it and keep it inside. But I believe that is about as on as it's gonna go, almost. The glue is still a little bit wet around the edges, but it's melted the polystyrene and the rubber together quite well. Now we'll move on to the A. And what we'll do is, just like on the W, well, if I can get a hold of these letters, they're really running away from me. There we go. Oh, that's backwards. I cut that one backwards. No, I didn't. I got a good cut on that one, except for the overcut, which I presume will not be a problem here in just a few minutes. I'm going to hold this letter in my left hand so that I can get this one done quicker. Spread it to the edges. Make sure I got good coverage. That does look good. Good coverage. Man, not perfect, but good. Yeah, I came a little bit too far, but like I say, it's hot, and once it's on, it wants to stay on today. Pretty good. There, it's a little too long, but I will shave that down. Better wait till it dries really good before I start sanding. It's time for the P. Now, the P's got a jagged edge here, so I can use the sandpaper. Let me start the sanding block. Sanding block works good, but I think the sandpaper makes it a little bit quicker. So much more of a round edge there. Pretty good. Now let's place. I'm gonna go with that. It's really close, and if I have to, I'll sand it down. So here we go. Glue, screwdriver, all the way to the edges, inside and out. And time for placement. Hope for the best here. Sliding around. Oh, that's the problem with the glove. It's sticky. Pretty good. I will have to come in and maybe even that bottom out, but that looks pretty good for what we're working with here. When everything is placed and everything is shaped, when you come back, just kind of take that first top edge off and it gives it a nice sheen, which you probably won't be able to do that too many times with this thinner material, but I think I stumbled upon something. Alright, now go ahead and do the most difficult part, the most tedious and time consuming